Smooth sumac, Rus tafina, is a North American native found in roadsides, open fields, prairies, savannas, and road edges. Because of its clonal habit, it can quickly spread across open ground. Sometimes this causes managers to want to contain it, control it, or eradicate it because it can crowd out desirable native species in a high-quality prairie. An effective strategy to reduce the density of smooth sumac or staghorn sumac is to remove biomass in successive cuttings in successive years, just to sort of wear it out to reduce the root reserves. Here in Wisconsin, this stem was cut earlier in the growing season, in June, just after full leaf out, when the roots had used up their maximum amount of reserves. Now in August, we're ready to do the second cutting. You can see that this stem was cut in June, as I said, early in the growing season, at about a 6-inch height. Since then, it's produced by mid-August another 2 feet. So we're going to cut that off, and that's going to reduce the root reserves even further. At this late time in the growing season, the plant won't have enough time before frost to replenish those root reserves. If we do this again next year, then we have a good chance of reducing the density and distribution of this stem. You can use good old hand loppers and cut off as much biomass as possible. It's also a good idea to cut the stem as close to the ground as possible for safety. This is a public area where people are walking around and people are working. I'll just cut this as close to the ground as possible. When you're doing work like this, it's good to use sturdy professional equipment. I like these drop-forged 2-piece hand loppers. They don't bend, they don't break, and I've had them for years. It's a little uncomfortable crawling around on your hands and knees to do this work, but the important point is that you need to remove as much biomass as possible. If you were to walk through and just cut off the top 6 inches of the stem, you wouldn't really be accomplishing your goal, because you want to wear that root system out. And by cutting a couple times this year and a couple times next year, close to the ground level, we're going to do that.
As always, when working in the field and using cutting tools, wear protective gear. Cut the stems parallel to and flush with the ground for safety reasons. A parallel cut rather than a diagonal cut avoids making a trip hazard. Remove the maximum amount of biomass possible, and repeat the cutting twice per growing season for 2 to 3 years. Benefits of the repeated cutting technique are that it can be done efficiently and effectively by volunteers because it does not require special training or equipment and does not require the use of herbicides.